cheap. Like it's really easy to get going, and then it's just very easy to play basically.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to be going into game number 4 here with Obo, who is our rank 3 player for 18 points. Pretty much a lock for day number 2. Remember that the bottom 8 players going out today. So that means that, the lobby that we're spectating right now, those top 8 players are feeling in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, hopefully this game is not as gold heavy as before. I just want to see like more aggressive rolling on 6 and 7. Maybe see some I mean everybody wants to see big dragons, but I just want to see a bit more of the game early.
Well, I mean, that's just it, right? I think that a lot of when the Mirages are the pirates there, and when you get a Goldmancer staff early, it really accelerates the pace of the game. And for a lot of these players who are used to playing more of a standard style, more of that Jade Siphon board there, it can really throw off a game plan. So, giving them a little bit more time to flex their muscles, show their strengths here, will really, end up playing towards what they're good at.
Yeah, Obo picking up 2 out of 3 Shimmer right now.
Could be big. I mean, it's definitely a direction to start off that early game there. And I mean, we haven't really seen a ton of Shimmer, throughout most of the patches here. It has definitely been a very valuable augment in set 7, but more often than not, players tend to shy away from it in 7.5 here. I'm not quite sure. Why do you think that may be?
Oh, I don't know either. I feel like Shimmer is still a really, really good, like especially if you get it early game, you should try to abuse it as much as you can because the amount of gold you get is like it's more than Astral, it's more than Pirates, so and it gives you an item, so
yeah, it is the premier gold making, and the thing to remember as well is that it's actually playing pretty decent units. Units like Jax and Volibear are pretty sizable as we move into first augment. Bruiser being
he got Shimmer and Nasus too.
Insane. Immediately slams the Bruiser just so that you could hit that Jax for Shimmer. And, well, it's going to be a Gambler's Blade. Are you feeling lucky?
I'm feeling lucky, Frosty. Again, Gambler's Blade gives a lot of gold now, actually. And he has the BT to start with the Volibear, so...
It's going to be...
Looking like a good game. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, you were saying that the pace of the lobby here, you wanted to try to slow things down, but this is a razor hot game. It's on a knife's edge straight away and is going to immediately end up slamming both those items of volley. Omni picks up the Ascension, and I'd like to say the Mirage is Warlord here as well, so, trying to get that early stack onto that Yone there is probably not going to end up working out for as well as Omni may have originally thought.
Yeah, Ascension not doing much early game, to be honest, because your units aren't strong enough to tank to get to that Ascension. Like, the fights just end before Ascension even procs.
Well, it really depends, right? It depends if you got this huge tanky front line there, but as we saw, they just didn't really have anything going on. Over on the other side of the board, we have Percy Jackson here, who does have that stock standard Astral start, and is choosing to stay level 3, 10 gold instead of, trying to consolidate a win streak. But after they took their first loss earlier on there, I'd say this is a pretty, safe bet. The thing I'm more interested in the salvage bin pickup here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty standard from Percy. Like, losing first round, you probably just want to keep streak, you have Astral, and then he is the Xayah one trick of this tourney, so he won with Xayah, he's very comfortable on the cob, so I think he's in a good spot.
I mean, you were mentioning this before, the Xayah one trick. Just how well, how much oh my gosh, I'm tripping up over my words. Intricacy is there to this composition? Because, I mean, for a lot of players, it would be fairly standard. 6 Rage Wing, get your guild units in there as well. But it seems to me like Percy really knows the ins and outs of this composition here.
Yeah, he's, I think more players should, he had last game, he had preparation, so all he did was sack stage 2, prep his units, and then streak from stage 3 onwards with the Bears too, so...
Interesting. We're going to move over to Temple's board here, and we saw a little bit of, that Karma 3 action to start off in game number 1 here, and it seems like Temple is choosing to slam that Dragon Mancer spatula down onto a Jax 2 already, mind you. This is an aggressive level, so we're probably not going to end up seeing, you know, a Karma reroll here. We're probably going to be seeing something a little bit more top heavy, you know, things like that Ao Shin. And it's a really interesting way that this composition ends up working, because more often than not, it's not going to be just purely based around trying to, you know, reroll a 3 cost or a 1 cost or something, or even a Kaiser for that matter, but they're more going to be focused around trying to go up to potentially level 8, level 9, trying to hit things like an Ao Shin and put your Dragon Mancer spatula on that.
Yeah, Temple's items not looking too good right now, so he will probably opt to not play Kaiser or Karma this game. I think Lee Sin is still really good in the meta. I wish players would play him more, and one very underrated Dragonmancer unit is Dragonmancer Jace that maybe we will see this game.
Dragonmancer Jace, not one that I've typically seen myself all too often, but on paper it sounds really good. Jace has got that extra healing and, you know, the shapeshifter buff there as well, so makes sense. We've moved over to Yush's board, and I mean, that's a hell of a shop if you're Yush there. You know, being able to pick up the Rengar, being able to consolidate that Dark Flight spatula that you've already managed to pick up there. Yush's items, on the other hand, you know, a little bit shaky, admittedly, but for where he's at right now, in a fairly decent spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in a decent spot. He has like a bit of Swain items. He has Runons to the Rengar already. He has the Darkflight spat.
Oh, but looking over at, I believe this is Huey Dewey's Lose. Well, that's already a Rengar 2.
Yeah, Huey with the Rengar 2 and the Sunfire. Just gonna jump around and spread it all over the board.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, look at this. He's not even planning on going for a Dark Flight game. This is just a naturally hit Rengar 2. You know, Huey was already trying to play for the Guild Emblem. You know, we've seen a lot of success with Guild Emblems thus far. And, I mean, just being able to hit that Rengar 2 seems to be proving to be quite well off for them. Will they manage to clutch out? Barely against the Skana from Yush there. So, fairly interesting board to have a look at there. But, I mean, all things considered, Guild, again, is one of those really flexible spatulas that we've... Oh, well, emblems. Yeah. Set for me is crying in shame right about now. Is one of those really flexible spatulas... I tried to do it again. Flexible emblems that we've seen, you know, for example, like Dragonmancer, also works really well in Guild.
Yeah, I mean, over here with the double BT, honestly, it's not even bad, because you have BT Siphon, you would have BT Shoyu. You're fine with this.
I think it works out a treat, honestly. I don't really consider BT to be a dead item, you know, with the reworks that have come through onto it. And, I mean, heck, if it just allows you to stack up just that little bit more gold, and the shield as well, being able to buy time for this Volibear, it ends up doing a lot of work, which is why they're streaking so heavily right about now, because nothing can kill the Volibear.
Yeah, this volley is going to be really strong. He even has volley pair on bench, so if he hits this volley too, he's going to be streaking for a while.
I mean, this is the high roll opener that you'd be looking for here, and, you know, usually in these situations we'd say go for a high cap dragon board, but, I mean, with the BT slam, the double BT slam even, it's looking more like just a regular Siphon board, so we're going to move back over to Omni, and, look, I mean, we were talking a little bit about Obo high rolling here. Omni, 5 Mirage already, has managed to find a good old Deja this early on into the game. And, I mean, dang, that's going to feel good, because you're going to get your Warlord stack onto this Deja straight away.
The stacks this early is so important on Deja. It helps you immensely in the early game, and, like, his items aren't that good, but the Ascension's going to carry him for sure.
Oh, definitely. And all things considered, right, the itemization that you're looking at here, you know, you've already seen the Hodge onto this Yone. It transitions incredibly well over to the Deja that we see here. I mean, do you really want to sell it off this early in the game? I'd probably say no, right? Because look at all those Warlord stacks, and, you know, as I say that, you know what? Omni disagrees, and because it's a Rat 2. It's an XDD 2.
XDD 2, man. Yosh with the Swain one. Playing Darkflight.
Swain 1 already, 6
Darkflight already.
Darkflight. And that's an essence already as well, all things considered. Man, we were just talking about how we wanted, things to slow down here, but things have only just sped up considering what we were seeing last game. Temple has already got a Kaiser 2, has already got a good old Karma 2 in there as well, has got 4D Mancer in already. But the question is it enough against this incredibly stacked 6 Darkflight board? That's 1,000 extra health on your units.
That's basically like a Rengar 3, not gonna lie.
Yeah. It seems as effective as a Rengar 3 because it was just unable to have anything done to it.
Some decent augment picks here. Knife's Edge is pretty obvious.
I mean, the preparation there as well, depending on how you want to end up playing it out, if you want to try to go for that stabby tabby 3, but yeah, I mean, Knife's Edge, all things considered, ends up working out really well. More often than not, you kind of just want to feed your Aphelios to the enemy team to get those Darkflight stacks going, so that your other carries, your things like your Swain and your Rengar can do a lot of work. But I think the thing that's the most impressive thing about this composition is that for as much as we highlight, for example, the Rengar or the Swain, that all things considered, the composition is so versatile because it just has multiple carries. That is a Zippy 2.
Yeah, where did he get that from?
I don't know, he just found it. He just found it on the side of the road there, and it just seems like to me like that's pretty good.
The only problem is that they don't have items, basically.
Yeah.
It's still Ezreal 1, hopefully it's enough. I mean, it does have Guild Emblem, so it gets the Zippy armor and MR, but maybe it won't be strong enough to carry him.
This game went from a 0 to 100 incredibly quickly here. We were just looking at 2-1 there being, oh yeah, no, this game is going to be pretty fast for Obo, has got that Volibear, got that Shimmer in there, and the rest of everyone else there was looking, pretty so-so. And then going into 3-2, there's a Zippy 2, there's a Deja already, there's already a Swain, and the biggest hit of all, an Ezreal 2.
He was in a really good spot right now. Yeah, it's just OCE diff. Not to mention, Obo also took Tiny Titans while he's 100 HP.
So, for all things considered there, even if you start taking those losses, you're gonna get to that fast 8th with relatively safe life total left over. And then you're going to get to that really strong soy boy before everyone else. So, Obo is looking to be in an incredibly strong spot in this game. Percy, on the other hand, is kind of in that midpoint right about now. Where they're trying to get up to that Xayah. They're not quite there yet. It's only at a Varus 1, and it's just, you can see the difference here, right?
Yeah, I mean, Xayah without combat augments is just a little weak because you are just like relying on items itself, when I think combat augments in general are just really strong. So having Salvage Bin and Thieves Gloves is still good for items, but if he doesn't, like, some players are just gonna get combat augments and he's probably gonna overpower it.
There we go, there's the aforementioned Xayah with a rod on it as well, Graves with a sword. What a fair decent options here. Yush is going to go towards that Xayah there, and Percy towards the Grave. So most of the notable options off of the table there. Bow's still on the table. Seems like a lot of players have been opting towards more of that AP more than the AD there. Now, talk about something that's missing in this game right about now is the Lagoon choice. We were seeing a lot of Lagoon coming through for a few of these players, but it seems like more often than not, they're steering away from Lagoon. It hasn't had the best results thus far.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had a decent Lagoon start in order to play Lagoon, so they're just staying away from that.
I mean, but the question is, like, how high roll do you need the Lagoon start to be to make it work in these lobbies? Because we've seen players with really strong Lagoon openers, but it just hasn't been enough. So one has to ask, what do you need to do to make it work? Is it even runnable?
I still think it's runnable. I just think that wait, runnable isn't even a word, but
let's not get stuck into the semantics here.
I still think it's still. It's a lot better with augments, basically. If you get Ludens early, if you get High Tide, you can stack up early. But in general, like, 80 comps right now are just easier to play.
Well, yeah, because there's so much flexibility between everything, right?
Yeah, there's so many item holders early. You got Wukong, you got Set, you got Nidalee.
And then, you move into your 2 cost, your 3 cost there. But, I mean, heck, look at this! Look at this! This is a perfect shop! A Pantheon and a Shiryu in shop here as well. Now, the question is Percy so much of a Zyra Forcer, that they are going to forego this shop here with the Shiryu, with that Soyfin starter pack? Oh...
I would be surprised if he skipped this Shiryu because he does have Salvage Bin, so he does have that Sunfire, which is a chain, and then he has BF, so he can make Edge and Knight on this Shiryu.
It goes against every grain in my body, it feels wrong. But I can see your point there. I can see why they're trying to do it. And I mean, looking at this Varus here as well, the Swift Shots do pack a fair amount of strength.
Yeah, it's still a triple item Varus. He's up
Yeah.
a lot of items on these players. So.
And I mean, you mentioned before the salvage bin option there. You've got the choice to mess around with some of these items as well. I'm gonna move over to Kade's board, who is running that prep, who is actually trying to go for the Soyfen there, and is already level 7, 56 gold on a 4-loss streak, and looks to be in a fairly strong spot to try to go for that fast 8, roll down and try to hit something. I just worry about the gold total a little bit.
Yeah, I mean he does have this prep, but it's not really like he's only prepping. Actually, he is prepping his Jace and Pantheon, so that's not that bad. He does have metabolic healing him up, so 54 is not even that low.
Unfortunately, the nerf to metabolic, metabolic used to work on PvE rounds. Unfortunately, not the case anymore. Is probably going to end up. Yush managed to hit a Tyrant Swain 2 on the roll down there, so they're in a fairly strong spot. All Bear 2 being made by Temple, who was our resident Dragonmancer player, and Kade looking to be like it is just going to be a fast 8 here.
Yeah, I'd like to stay on like Kade's board to see his roll down next level. I mean next turn.
We'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens here. Shuffling in the board around, trying to play around everything. Percy still rocking that Varus one. Managed to find the Xayah. That's a big pickup, but no proper front line for it there. No Rage Wing front line to be able to carry it there. So it's going to be sticking on that Varus for the time being here. Damage being pumped there from the Swift Shots. That is Swift Shot 3. That's no slouch in terms of attack speed. You see the Varus just managing to dish out a ton of damage, all things considered. But, I mean, something interesting, we noted on the side there. Temple's going for Kai'Sa reroll.
Oh, is he?
Interesting. Well, we're going to be moving into last augment choice, but we're also going to be moving into another egg giveaway. So exclamation mark egg in chat to enter there. Make sure to get your XDDs out as well while we're at it to celebrate. We're going to see Kade taking this immediate roll down here. Has managed to find both a Siphon and a Shiryu. 2 good old Dejas to follow it up there as well. Another Shiryu, so that's 2 Shiryus, 1 Siphon. Swapping around a little bit there, and there is board.
He's got it.
He's got it, and most notably as well, 2 healing items. So it's got that Hodge on the Siphon there, got the Shiryu with the BT. So pretty much perfect itemization for both of them there.
Manages to find another Siphon and start prepping.
Yeah, that's it.
Only downside is he didn't Jade Statue both his dragons.
I mean, the question here is, do you want to sell off a Yasuo so that you can get this Siphon? There we go. I think it's a good play. I like getting.
Yeah,
the
you
prep
definitely
down.
do. You have prep, yeah.
That's it. Looking over at Aaron's board, look, there is a Pantheon too. So trying to find another. Pretty much, Pantheon is kind of the third carry of this composition here. So just being able to get a Pantheon 2 would be pretty darn good for Kade. But Aaron's already got 3 of them on the bench, so. Going to be taking a look. There's the Kai'Sa 3, by the way. Only 1 item, Jeweled Gauntlet. That thing's going to be pumping out a ton of damage.
Oh, he does have Blue Battery and Axiom Arc, so
Ooh.
it's actually pretty insane augments if you ask me.
Pretty dang insane indeed. I mean, we were saying before, it's best in augment slot.
Yeah, BIS.
VIAS or no?
EIS.
Okay, let's just
Best
not
in slot.
complicate it. So from this point here, I mean, in Temple's spot, you're probably just going to be looking for that Infinity Edge, right? You don't really want more mana, you just want to try to get as much damage onto this Kai'Sa as possible.
Yeah, the only problem is he can't really complete a Kai'Sa item right now because he has the chain, no other components. I don't think Titan's Kai'Sa is that good, so I think he would just go for like a BF or something.
You know, I'd be inclined to agree with you there as well. And I mean, you just get to see the damage that this Kai'Sa ends up pumping out. And the thing is that, I mean, it's just so hard to deal with because it's just got a mountain of health, right? So even if you end up damaging it, it's just going to end up pumping more damage back into you there. But I think the thing that Temple really wants more than anything else would probably be a healing item here more than, you know, trying to find something. So something like a sword would be a very nice pickup there. And I mean, the sword's on the Lilia, so might be a half decent one. Oh, no, you know what? Kade says no.
Kade wants the Lilia. He wants that Eep.
Chat's been asking for it for a while there, haven't they? And they finally
I
got
gave it to
from
you guys.
There you go. Just man of the people. As Omni manages to pick up that Soraka with a chain vest on there as well. Though managing to go the last pick for Obo, so they're going to be in a fairly decent spot with that double BT. So we move over to Huey Dewey Louie, who is looking to go for a level 8 roll down there. Manages to find the Deja,
It's
so
a Deja. Yeah.
that's a fairly big pickup, especially if they're trying to go for the Deja, and that is exactly what they're going to do.
As a champion duplicator as well.
Beautiful. 2 Shious in shop. Does not want to deny those at all. Former Irish 6 guild. And is going to start trying to get those Warlord stacks down. Post haste. Fortunately, no more Dejas to be found, however.
In every other dragon.
Pretty much could have 3-starred any other dragon that they chose, but did not manage to find what they were looking for. So move over to Percy Jackson's board. And I'm getting a little bit of deja vu right about now. I mean, I feel like I've seen this before, but I'm just not quite sure where. I mean, maybe it was last game that they were trying to play this exact same board.
Also, we forgot to mention just now on Percy got dropped Tome at 4-1. I mean at Wolves, and it ended up being a guild spat for his Zaya. So that's pretty insane. And he got scorched next augment. He's in a pretty good spot as long as he finds one Shyvana.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is in fact pretty insane. So, all things considered, in a fairly decent spot, manages to find that second Deja. So probably going to be seeing a Deja 2. There we go. So we move over to the board of Percy Jackson, who has got that Zaya too. Really good Thieves' Gloves items as well. He's just going to be looking to try to find that Shyvana to try to cap out their board.
Yeah, currently playing 2 Jaces, but one of the Jaces does have IEJG, so that's gonna do a lot of damage.
I mean, what more can you really ask for there? Coming up against the board of Yush, however, that's a scary Darkflight board, especially
Somehow
with those
still
Swain
Rengar
items. Those Swain items, though, right? I mean, we were talking about before how this composition is kind of, you know, it's got multiple different assets that it can use. But Swain 2 going down there fairly quickly, so not going to be enough for the time being. Seems like Yusha's still got to work on their board, perhaps not the fast 8 that they were looking for.
Yeah, it's just Scorch diff. Scorch just did too much damage. The Stoneplate didn't even matter on Swain.
I mean, it's all that true damage, right? Well, going into our regular treasure dragon of the day here, you know, Percy has got a few different options that they might be looking for. Perhaps a Morello for that potential Shyvana, but all things considered, you've already got a Sunfire Cape, so more anti-healing. Perhaps not what you're looking for. Chooses to roll over it. Hextech Gunblade, not bad, but instead, Bloodthirster perhaps? Could I offer you an Ionic Spark as well? Says no. We'll instead take the Jeweled Gauntlet. Great Shyvana item to pair alongside a potential Infinity Edge there. When all things come together, it's going to be strong, but it's just got to find it. Oh. Yeah.
Yui hitting Natural Fawn on Treasure Dragon without rolling.
It's pretty good.
And hit his Deja pair, so Unico's it.
You know, all things considered, Chaos, we're analysts, you know, we've played this game a lot. There's not really much that you can say about a Natural Fawn other than, you know, yeah, that's pretty good.
You know why he hit that Fawn? It's
Why?
because he was holding a Lilia on bench. He got the
Oh,
Eep buff. He has the Eep buff. Honestly.
true, very true. Could not have seen that one coming. That's why we have you on the desk here. You know? We're going to move back over to Kade, who is at that 1 life total right about now, but has managed to assemble the Soifan board, and that is a Soifan 2. Has not managed to hit Xiaoyu 2 quite yet. It's up against the board of Yush. I mean, the scariest bit about this all is that Tyrant Swain in the back. It seems like the duo of dragons managing to try to clap this Swain, but the damage is not enough. The Swain just keeps on recasting here. Big bites
really
coming
close.
through as well, but it seems like the overtime buff will keep Kade in the game for one more round. Yush also going down into that precarious life total.
This is not looking good for Kade and Yush. They're about to go 7-8 again together.
It's unfortunate as well considering such a strong start to the day, but sometimes that is the way that the biscuit crumbles here for the time being. Kade just going to be dash dancing around, not even choosing to scout as well, especially with this shroud. Might be some valuable time that they're going to be wasting here, but is instead going to be just positioning the shroud on the outer side of the composition, coming up against Percy Jackson, that stacked Guild Zaya board. Managed to dodge out the shroud on the Hecarim here. Big Hecarim cast coming through. Manages to go off to the side though. And there is the Siphon on the back line. Can it get that fatal chomp off? No. And it seems to be like Kade has unfortunately reached their end in this game. Takes a few final rolls to try to find Xiaoyu. Goes out in 8th there. So really unfortunate start to the tournament for Kade here. You know, really strong play, but it's just not managed to rack up the wins that they needed.
Kade did win one of the lobbies. He won game 2. He won his lobby.
Well, it's not
So
about...
it's just unfortunate that he went 7-8 in the next one.
Well, I mean, as I was going to say, it's not about just getting one win. It's about, you know, trying to rack up all the wins there and everything.
Exactly. You can't first the 8th every game.
There you go.
All about consistency.
That's it. So, all things considered there, they're not out of the tournament quite yet. Still 2 more games to play, 2 more to bring it back. Yush also going out in 7th as well. So we're going to be moving into the later stages of this game here, Obo with a devastating shroud that would have ended up hitting this Deja, but instead misses both chances. Gets a really nice shroud on, gets a really nice Zephyr onto the Xiaoyu here. It seems to me like the Siphon dashes away. But this is still only a Deja 1, so the damage is not really coming through.
Yeah, the Titan's not looking as good as it looks.
You're definitely not
Omni
wrong.
is going fast 9 actually. He has 50 gold in the bank, not ruling.
Well, there you go. So perhaps trying to look towards something more like that Alshian board that we've seen in games past as we move into Stage 5 Carousel here. There is a Swift Shot emblem, but I don't think we're going to be posturing our boards towards a Swift Shot emblem this late into the game. Well, I mean, unless your name is Percy Jackson, where they've already got the Swift Shots there, makes sense for a Hecarim.
Yeah, perfect item for Hecarim.
Perfect pivot casting-wise from me as well. Great job, mate. We're going to move back over to the board of Obu here, who is still rocking that Siphon Xiaoyu board. Unfortunately, no Panth 2, and is a little bit light on gold as well, all things considered. You know, is really relying on those 2 heavy dragons to do the heavy lifting more often than not. But, I mean, that's what the composition is based around. You know, it's this dual threat. And look at the carry items on both of them as well. You know, Giant Slayer, Edge of Night, Bloodthirster.
These are really good items.
Titans, Hand of Justice. Incredible items for both of these units here. Can't really ask for more.
Sweating the Zephyrs as well.
That's just beautiful. That's beautiful teamfight tactics, right? Like, it does come down to the little things, you know, all these players trying to mind game each other. But at the end of the day, sometimes a person's board is just stronger than the others, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't really play around your Siphon dashing the wrong way.
Oh, we haven't mentioned this, but Aaron's also playing Zaya this game.
Oh, really now? Perhaps Zai, you know, is... all things considered, I mean, going into the tournament here, I didn't really consider Zai to be a mainstay option, but somehow it's finding its way back in, perhaps because of the fact that most players think it won't be contested, you know, they've got a free option to go for.
Yeah, I mean, without any like I assume people would just play like Rengar or like Xiaoyu and Siphon for the most part. So maybe Zaya just gets untouched, and then these players can maybe abuse it.
Well, I mean, all things considered, it has a decent matchup into, you know, Siphon. It has a decent matchup into Rengar, you know, so long as you can end up dodging out on the Rengar there. So, I mean, it is fairly
Yeah,
well
that's
positioned.
just the hard part. I think it's a lot easier with Guildspat because Guildspat gives you all the zippy armor, so your Zaya doesn't get one shot immediately.
I mean, don't forget the extra stats as well, you know, the extra armor, MR, you know, the extra AD, AP, all that fun business there, the attack speed as well.
And don't forget the Omnivamp.
I mean, the Omnivamp, yeah. The Omnivamp, you know, the thing that the guild emblem actually gives away there. Yeah, I mean, how could we possibly forget that, right? Ooh.
Percy Jackson getting BF, chain, cloak that he can break apart.
Not bad at all. I'm gonna move over to Temple's board, who is on a bit of a win streak, you know, that 5 win streak. And I mean, we were talking about trying to find that Infinity Edge for this Kai'Sa and the healing as well. This is pretty much perfect item Kai'Sa, along with perfect augment Kai'Sa as well. So, if this isn't a win for Temple, I don't know what more a Dragonmancer player could do to try to take it home from here.
Yeah, I think once Temple hits a Yasuo, he's gonna be in a really good spot. But he looks to be rolling for the 3 stars. Oh,
it's a set at level 7 there, so all things considered, fairly lucky. We move over to Huey's board, who is level 10, 8 guild, 3 dragons, has a Shyvana 2, Shyvana 1, Zippy 2, Deja 2, with Fawn here as well. This is a scary looking board.
Yeah, Hugh's board's looking really good if you can manage to land the Zephyr.
Up against Erend here. They managed to dodge it. No, that is going to be a Zephyr onto the critical unit. The Zaya goes down. Here comes the big scary dragon. Shyvana lands, dealing a ton of damage to the front line. Doesn't manage to find its way onto the Zaya, but the Zippy does. Zippy doing his best job as an assassin there, and that is going to be Erend who is going to be going out here. We'll have to see whether Percy is as well. Percy, and just to take a better loss, goes out in 5th, Erend out in 6th.
Yeah, both Zaya players going Buffalo. None of them actually found Shyvana, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that's a pretty critical thing to talk about there as well, as, you know, it's less of a Zaya composition, even though, you know, Zaya gets a lot of press there, and it is more of just a general good units composition, right? And the goodest unit that you can hit is that Shyvana, because it enables the rest of your composition. You know, that 6 Rage Ring breakpoint is just so critical for it.
Yeah, Omni's still on Deja 1. Couldn't find an Aoshin, I guess. So, probably... He has HP to work with, so he's probably not out yet.
All things considered, still in a fairly decent spot, right? But, I mean, you look over at the other side of the board there, and, I mean, heck, that's a little bit of a better looking good old Deja from Huey Dewey Louie.
Actually pretty close.
But it seems like the Sunfire diff is coming in clutch, and Huey's going to be going out in 4th there.
That is an Ascension diff. That's an Ascension diff.
Not something we were really expecting there, but Ascension managing to play a huge part. Temple on a 7 win streak now, and it's still rolling at level 7 here, trying to find those 3 stars instead of trying to go up. I don't know if I love this here.
I think he knows that there's a higher chance of him hitting these units to power up his Kai'Sa than hitting a Yasuo that at 8, basically. So I'm okay with this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, right? Like, getting in Jade here is still, like, fairly important, and, you know, trying to hit your 3 stars is still fairly good. It just feels like, you know, hitting that Yasuo, or the potential chance for a Yasuo, would just be a little bit better. All things considered, like, I'd say that you're probably closer to hitting the Yasuo than, you know, trying to get some of these 3 stars. Only
Yeah, I think
managing
it's
to
still
find
close, but yeah.
only managed to find a second Lee Sin 2 there with what, like 20 gold rolled down. Kind of feels like you'd just get a little bit stronger by just fitting in another 2-star Dragon Man, so all things considered. However,
Another guild spat.
another guild spat. Will Temple end up denying it? I don't think so, but it could still be a decent option. Omni, on the other hand, I would be fairly certain that this is probably going to be not a guild spat.
I mean, taking another guild spat doesn't really do that much. It actually, like, cause it only gives Omnivamp, so it doesn't really. You can cut one of the guilds, but you kind of want the bonuses of the other guilds. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
no, that definitely makes a lot of sense there. I mean, because all of the guilds offer something different, right? You know, even something as basic as Sejuani offers health, and that health stacks up quite a lot, so makes sense. I'm going to move over to Obo's board, who is in that precarious spot. 7 health, you know, is trying to dodge out on a whole bunch of Zephyrs, and Omni is going
watch
to be the
everything,
recipient.
landed everything. Obo has a good shot at winning this.
But will it be enough? You know, there's the Deja immediately targeting down that Siphon there. There's the Siphon gone. It's only up to the Shiou now, but the Shiou is also being targeted down. Ascension procs, and that's a lot of damage coming through. And it seems like the front line just is not there for Omni. There's the big carry potentially gone. Healing's coming through from that Soraka too, though. It's a big deal. There's so much health. There's so many resistances from Omni's Deja. It is not going to be enough. Obo is going to be going out in third.
Omni really turning around with this Titan's Deja.
Definitely turning around. We're down to our final 2 now. It's going to be Temple with this stacked Dragon Man support. The Kaiser 3, the Jax 3, the Set 3, the Karma 3. Still trying to find some of those 3 stars there in the Volibear, in the Lee Sin. But over on the other side, Omni with this Guild Deja board is fairly capped out as is right about now. Is going to be trying to play around with that Zephyr. There's been some big movements here. He's moved the Zephyr up into the front line. Only manages to target the Lee Sin. We'll have to see how this one plays out. This is going to be a close fight. Deja immediately starting to swing away here. Kaiser needs some time to ramp up, all things considered, and Zippy is being a menace. Immediately going back onto this Kaiser. It's the highest health total, and that is going to be a lot of damage. But the Kaiser's casting, but the good old Bard manages to clutch it out. Temple's still got 1 fight left in them, though. It's coming down to neck and neck. Chaos, what does Temple need to bring this back?
I think honestly, the 3 stars are kind of big because that fight was kind of close. So maybe the extra HP and the extra AP might actually make it for him.
Fair enough. So, it's all going to come down to. I mean, let's break it down here. It's all going to be one final roll down here for Temple, right? Temple probably not going to be going up to level 8. It's going to try to find the volley through the Lee Sin.
As the champion duplicator.
It's going to be big for him. Going to see a little bit of a slower roll down here from Omni. You know, just
Holding Lee Sins,
stealing
holding
these Lee
volleys,
Sins away.
and volley and chop.
It's kind of important. 1 volley away. That's
Oh,
volley
hits
3.
everything.
It's
That's the Lee
everything.
as well.
If this isn't it for Temple, then nothing will be. This is the strongest Temple is going to be getting in this game. It's all going to come down to one final little position battle here. Manages to dodge away from the Zephyr, but will it be enough? Seems like it's going to be hitting the Karma here. This is going to be the final fight. Again, Kaiser needs a little bit of time to be ramping up, and that is a critical Bard cast. Immediately snipes down the Kaiser. So this is just going to be a little bit harder, and the front line disappears. The Kaiser is a raid boss, but the Deja is just too strong. Second Bard cast comes through, and Temple will be going out in second there. Omni manages to take game number 4 with a stacked Guild Deja board.
Omni winning 2 games.